Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's live. Today is Thursday, the 15th of May, and I am Rick Gomez coming to you live from El Paso, Texas, and learning every day from this new, I'll call it the new technology or whatever, but we're learning a lot about TikTok. We're learning a lot about systems. We're learning a lot about what causes the system to slow down. So today I'm hoping that I don't have any resource issues. The PC sounds nice and quiet. Sounds cool. Like it's not overheating with all my knowledge and skills. And so I'm going to start today with what we were trying to work on last night. First off, I was going to be going live with my friend Jeff. Jeff and I go back, I don't know, about, good morning everybody, Dado and I guess that's a Flame and Lopez Jr. Jeff and I, we go back about a couple of years when we were part of when we were part of a business opportunity, and we became friends, and I don't know, some sort of kind of like kindred spirits, because we sort of kind of, I see a lot of my younger self in Jeff, and again, we all see ourselves in different people, and we want to make sure that we leave them with the information that can make their life easier. And so, one of the things that I want to do on these lives is share my experiences back from when I was younger and then to today of what I'm doing. Again, so my name is Rick Gomez. I do promote a digital product. You can get it right there. It's on your screen. And I'm learning how to work this TikTok Live Studio. Even at 65, you can learn new tricks, new skills. And so I appreciate there's so many people coming in on right now, so I'm just going to say hi. Welcome to everybody. Thank you for joining. Last night, we were trying to get together to talk about, he wanted to talk about learning. And so I said, okay, great. Let's see what we can do. One of the things that I was sharing with him is that he needs to get two screens. First, because one screen is where your primary camera's on and your primary account is on, but then the other one serves as your teleprompter. I have my ChatGPT up here, but in my ChatGPT it has all my content. It has all my knowledge. Everything that I put in there is in there. And so, so my friend Jeff said, "Okay, come on with me. Let's go." One of the things that we tried but didn't accomplish was that I believe he was going into the wrong settings to get us to go into this live together. But that's okay, because we'll learn it today and we'll figure it out. And as a matter of fact, the topic for today is about learning. And I want to sort of kind of guide you with this conversation that I had with my ChatGPT last night about learning. I had, let me go here real quick so we can have some little background music. A lot of you guys know that I've been playing with AI music, and so yesterday I go to Suno.com. In Suno.com, you get 50 free credits a day, and my credits come in around, I don't know, 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And so by the time I get home, I get on my chat and create some songs and get it going. And all I wanted to do today on this was to get over here first, to just start it up, hoping it doesn't mess it up. But I'm going to start it here. I'm not going to try to create anything. I'm just going to let it percolate here in the background. And then one of the things about the mornings is that I was telling Jeff that I have to reset my system every morning because it's I'm gonna put that music there. And so I tell Jeff to, and if you're here, tap, 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 give me some love so I can get this message out to other people, and the videos can go out to other folks that are maybe looking for something. I know that one of the things that I'm a big believer that if you've been looking for something, it's going to come to you. If you have it in your thoughts and on your heart and on your mind daily. And so hey Ash and Guy, thanks for joining. One of the things that I talk about, or that I share with my friends, is that, again, you get what you think about all day long. And so some mornings I'll wake up and I'll have an answer to something that I was thinking about yesterday. And so that's why I love getting up early in the mornings, because I want to put some of that stuff down. I want to expand on some of that. And now with ChatGPT, it helps us become that much more efficient, effective, creative. The song that you're listening to is from Suno, but the words came out of my ChatGPT and my thoughts and what I was thinking about that day. And it helps me, put the verses together and the styles and all that. But I'll be able to use that music later as I'm creating. And so anyway, so I had yesterday afternoon when Jeff called me up and said, "Hey, can you be on my live with me?" I said, "Sure." I go, "What do you want to talk about?" And he says, "Well, I'm gonna just," and to be honest with you, Jeff was really excited. Jeff was excited about getting online, doing a live, because most people get on and do a live for about 5 minutes, maybe not even that long. But the real magic in going lives on TikTok is 90 minutes. There seems to be something about that 90-minute mark that helps TikTok know who you are, what you're talking about, who can benefit from your from your content, and it'll push it out to them. And so one of the things I was telling Jeff was that you have to get to the point where you are comfortable talking about a lot of stuff or any stuff. And hold on a second here. Yeah, so yesterday, one of the things that I did was I put a notepad over all this stuff where the people are, right? Where the people are popping up and joining. Because one of the things that distracts you is there's a lot of people that are joining. I mean, there's already been 100 viewers on this live, and I've only been on live for like 8 minutes. And so 3 people are here right now, but it just keeps going. If I spend time just I could do a live just saying hi, but I want to get my content out there, because with this TikTok live studio, I have a purpose. I have 90 minutes in the mornings before I go to work to go live, have my coffee, get my thoughts together, and then I go. But by the time I leave, I'm gonna have 90 minutes of content. I'm gonna have this file and download it, and I'll load it up to YouTube, give me a YouTube video out of it, and then put that into my Opus clips, and it'll go and shorten it up. And so that's all the part of the morning process to do online digital marketing. You got to do what you got to do, right? And so last night I was going to be talking to Jeff, and Jeff and I were going to be on a multi-guest live, but we just couldn't get it together. It just didn't work. He couldn't see it. I didn't, I told him I hadn't practiced with it because I hadn't done it yet. But I told him we keep working on it, and by the end of this weekend we'll have figured it out, and we'll be doing lives all the time. And so I told my ChatGPT over here on a live with Jeff, he wants to talk about learning. What can I add to Jeff's life? You know, so ChatGPT came back to me and said, "Hey, great question, Rick. Since you're going live with Jeff to talk about learning, your unique experience, energy, and belief in personal growth, self-image, and transformation can add depth and action steps to the conversation. And here's how you can elevate the value of the live." And I go, "Wow." So it's like having your personal coach when if you're at a loss for words or a loss for ideas. You drop something into ChatGPT and you'll have something that it'll organize for you. One of the things that I loved about ChatGPT is that every morning, since ChatGPT is with me all day long, and I have my phone with me, so if I have a thought, an idea, a question, I hear something, I put it in there just to record it because it keeps everything in order of when I'm typing it. And so I don't know if you can see my screen, but I don't know how big or how well you can see it. But yesterday, at the end of the day, I had asked ChatGPT about my PC in the back panel analysis, because part of my issues for this was the CPU is heating up, so that means I have to go find a fan to help it cool down during the lives. This weekend I'll take it apart a little bit and just blow dust off and get everything cleaned up in the PC. So I've had this PC now for, gosh, I want to say 4 to 5 years, and I was using it when I was I wanted to work from home, and so I had bought this PC to do insurance work. It was going to be like a little mini call center right here. And with the software, the PC, the 2 screens, the desk, you're in business, and you're licensed. You have to have a license in insurance. But it was next to those hearts. I appreciate it. Give me as many as you want. I take them all. So yesterday I started talking to ChatGPT about my PC back panel analysis, just to see sort of kind of like, what does it see? I took a picture of the back and I uploaded it to ChatGPT, and I go, "What do you see?" And it talks about, the kind of the power supply, fan, the slots for different things, another fan, and all the ports that are on the back of it. And so, so I'm learning all the time, and so that's this lends into learning, because we're learning every day. I do part-time substitute teaching in one of the districts here in El Paso, and I'm in a class right now that works with autistic kids, and I'm here as an aide, but I get a lot of learning out of observing the kids. Being observant is a superpower. If you don't just sit back and observe, you won't ever see what's going on, because you're too busy thinking, "I need to say this, I need to do that." And you want to be observant so that you can really see what's going on. Because it's one thing to think you know what's going on, but at least, and it tells me today, go live for at least 25 minutes, 38% of this live surpass your highest league ever, 3%, that's something, I don't know what that is, but anyway, so, so going back to the learning, these autistic kids, they learn, and they know they're learning, but we don't know that they're learning. So they pick up on things, they pick up on the words that we say, they pick up on attitudes, they pick up on feelings. They like certain words, put them in a certain mood. One of the first things that I learned from Tony Robbins when I was starting my personal development journey was about changing states. Are you in a good state or in a bad place? And and those states can change in an instant. And so one of the things is, that I had learned before is you have to observe what state a person is in. Are they in an energetic state? Are they in a good state? We'll call it a good place and a bad place. That's about as succinct as I can get it. And so to me, if a person's going to learn, they need to be in a good place, because they don't know what they're learning until they go stumble through it. On one of my other social media accounts, I follow a friend who just had a baby a year ago, and he's a very good poster of that baby's development. And so it reminds me all the time. That's why I love kids, because they always remind us that no matter what, we're always learning something new, and we're developing and learning. And so this little baby, I'll call him Baby Z, just to call him that. He's, he hasn't started walking yet. Oh yeah, he has. He started walking about a month ago. He's learning how to talk. He's picking up things. He's playing with things. He's just, and he's learning. And it just reminded me about when we do, when we want to learn anything, we have to have falls. You always fail and fall at the beginning. But we don't stay there unless we want to. But that's not the human way. The human way is to figure it out and move forward. So one of the things that I was going to talk to Jeff about yesterday, about the lies, and he calls me G-Pa because I'm older than he is. I help out with my school kids, plus I got a couple of what I call rent-a-grand kids. They're not mine. My daughter hasn't had babies yet, so I'm not a real, I guess I'm not a real grandpa, but I am a real grandpa, because I've been hanging out with this one family that has let me be part of their family for the last 9 years, 10 years. And so I was able to see I call my rent-a-grand kids. That's for fun. It's a term of endearment. I love them. I consider them my grandkids. And so I'll do anything for them. And so one of the things about doing this digital marketing is that I'm preparing myself to not only be there for them, but also to be there for my own grandkids one day. And so all this technology is helping me to help them learn, about, because when you're born, nobody tells you that what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be working on, what you want to, how you're going to do it. Because I know that I had wanted my daughter to do whatever she wanted to do. And so I wanted to give her all those opportunities to do what she wanted to do. And she grew up in the age of the 90s. She was born in 94. She grew up in the 90s. We did a lot of Disney on Ice, Disney movies. A lot of great movies came out during that time period. And there's a lot of movies that came out before that were great movies. And so I had taken a class one time in a creative writing class as part of my was it my undergrad or my master's? It was for my undergrad. And in that creative writing course, it talked about a thing called the hero's journey, and how every Disney movie was filmed around the hero's journey. And we're all in the hero's journey. And I'm going to sort of kind of go over that so that let me get a hero here. Yeah, so when I was in that class, I was going like, wow. And I thought about it, and that everybody, and I thought back on all the movies, and it talked about the hero's journey. It was if you ever want to research it, it's by a guy named Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell wrote this book about the thousand faces of a hero, and what it does is it opens your eyes to this life that we live, how we grow through stories, how our stories help our people grow, how my parents' stories help me grow, how the stories in the Bible and help everybody grow. It's all about stories and about the heroes that are there and about the people that are stopped because of some outside influence. And so one of the things, so I'm going to first start here, is that the hero's journey is a powerful storytelling framework that mirrors personal transformation. Entrepreneurial growth and the journey from employee to entrepreneur are uninspired to on fire. My messages are built around the hero's journey because I feel I'm a hero. Everybody is a hero in their own story. So you're living in your own story, and you need to figure out, where you're headed and what you're supposed to be doing, because that is the magic, the fire, the aha that you're out there learning for you, so you can share with us. And I don't know what that is, but I know that for me, I came out of it to lead, teach, and encourage. I lead because I go first. I go read these books. I read all those books back there. If I have a problem, I first try to solve it with a book. I go look for a book because somebody else has always somebody else has already come through this path, and so I use books. And then ChatGPT came along, and wow, it's like having every author at my disposal. And so one of the songs I wrote yesterday was about from lawnmower to something else. I used to I had a business to cutting grass back in Houston back in the day, and it wrote a song about me cutting grass and how I grew from that to personal development. It's really funny, but I'm going to take these songs and bundle them up, and I'm going to put them into a book, a knowledge, an album, and then just share them out at one time. But I'm still figuring out how I'm going to work on that. But the music is all generated by my thoughts of a song. ChatGPT helped knowing my background and what I do. And so let me go over real quick the 12 steps of transformation in the hero's journey. First off, if you remember in any good Disney movie, the main character is always in their ordinary world. I was just living my life, doing what everybody else is doing. This is the hero's comfort zone. For my audience, it might be corporate life, paycheck to paycheck, or stuck in survival mode. Is that you? Is that your story? Is that your ordinary world? When I first started out in working with computers, so my background is, how do I go back? My background is in the old days, they used to call it data processing. And it got more fancier terms as the industry grew. And I was working for a company out in Houston, and I was living my life, and I didn't. Well, actually, my original life was down in South Texas. That was my ordinary world. I was born down there. I graduated high school down there. That's a whole different lifestyle from the South Texas lifestyle, from the Houston lifestyle. The speed of life down there, it was all slower, more family friendly. And again, it was my time in the 60s, 70s, and early 80s before I took off to Houston. And then the call to adventure came. There has to be more than this. I finished high school. I thought I was going to be doing the same thing that my dad did. I thought I was going to maybe join the Army. I thought I was going to learn a skill like maybe being a plumber, that kind of stuff, just because that's what they want. You're trying to learn a skill to provide and earn income. And I said there has to be more to this, and a challenge or opportunity arises, and this could be seeing someone else succeed, losing a job, or discovering an online income path. In my case, it came from a friend of mine who was, we were already out of high school. We were in like May, we graduated, and a friend of mine was taking a class at their local college, and it was a computer class. And I remember he was struggling with learning the concept of whatever that class was. And I was there with him, and I said, "Let me take a look at that." And I looked at the book, and it was about computers. It was a computer class. And I said, "Oh, that's interesting." I had never heard about it. Computers weren't a big thing back in the late '70s yet. Of course, we didn't even have phones there, mobile phones. And one of the things that I had was I was inquisitive at that point. I was just kept wanting to learn more and do more, and and this friend, their parents owned a business, and so I was always intrigued by them and their business, and why their house was bigger than our house, and so that all those things sort of were in my head. I go, because once you see the difference and you say, I want that, or I want to go toward that, then your brain starts picking up on that, and you start looking for ways to get that. And so thank you everybody for joining. Say hi. I say hi to all you, but I don't want to lose track here. So I'd gone to his friend's house this one day, and he was struggling with this course in computers. And I took a look at it and said, I can do this. And so I was walking in La Plaza Mall in McAllen, Texas one day. And in the mall was like an RV, a traveling RV that they brought in. But it was a RV for the technical school down in Harlingen, at Texas State Technical Institute in Harlingen. And they had a program in industrial data processing. And I go, that's it. That's for me. And so I went ahead and called down there, saw what it took to get enrolled. Next thing you know, I'm enrolled in an industrial data processing class. And that was, in 78, 79. And I did that for 2 years and got my 2-year degree. And so, again, I got called to an adventure. Now, that was one adventure, because we're always being called to adventures. I had a call to go to go up a different path than my dad's path. My dad was a delivery truck driver for Sears, and all I remember from that career for my dad is that everybody knew him and everybody was happy, because he was always bringing them refrigerators and washers and dryers and furniture. So it was a happy job, except the part that I didn't see was the hard part, that being in that big old cargo truck that was filled with furnitures and stuff, and it was super hot in South Texas, and that was like a oven that he was working in. And so I realized that that's not what I really want to do, what I really wanted to do. And so and then doing this, going to school, was also a thing that popped up. I go, man, I've gone only to a school where my parents told me to go to school. That was the public schools. Now I have to, on my own, make a decision to go to another school. And that's what life is like. Is you're always going to get these calls to what decision are you going to make to go to another school. And so I said, I'm going to do this. So I called, got enrolled, got started, and in 2 years I finished. One of my takeaways that I remember back then was, I had made some new friends, so it was different from the people that I had hung out with in my high school phase. But it was different people, new teachers, new adventures. It was great. It was to me, it was like learning new. And then one day, we came in, and they go, Rick, you're not dressed. I guess I wasn't paying attention yesterday, because he said, you're not dressed. I go, for what? We're having interviews today, because a company from Houston was coming in to interview. And I go, wow. They go, just make do with what you got, and let's just see what happens. I go, no problem, I'll do that. And so then that's where I met. I'm going to number 4, her meeting the mentor. I met a man, red hair, strong jaw, likable guy. His name was Clyde Stapp. This was back in the 80s. His name was Clyde Stapp. And Clyde worked for a company called Shell Oil Company out of Houston, Texas. And I go, Shell Oil Company? I don't even know who Shell Oil Company is. And that sort of kind of also, at the time, and looking back, shows me how sometimes we don't know what is really out there because we haven't ever looked. We think that our world is where it's at. But anyway, so I met with Mr. Stapp, Clyde, and he was a typical IT guy from back in that time period. White shirt, black tie, a nerd, and but he was a real nice guy. And he goes, no. And so at the end of that day, they ended up making offers to about six of us. And I had this thing. It had a letter. It was a letter that says, hey, we're offering you a job to come to Houston, and this is what you're going to be making, and this is what you're going to be doing. And I said, wow, I have an opportunity to go to Houston. And nobody from South Texas ever wants to leave South Texas because they have, and you never want to leave because you have your family, you have your comfort zone, you have, you just don't want to leave. So I said, no, I'm going to do it. I accepted the offer. And I told my dad, hey, Dad, I took a job offer in Houston. He didn't know what a Shell Oil Company was. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was ahead of me. But like number 5 says here, I took the leap. My dad had $500, only $500, and I had a car and my clothes, right? And I went to Houston with $500, my car, and my clothes. And here I go. It was 305 miles from McAllen to Houston. 305, 315, depending on where you end the count. Start the count and end the count. It was over 300 miles. And leaving for 300 miles was pretty exciting. Learn how to read a map to travel, even though it was just a straight shot up, 281, and then once you hit 59, go to Houston. But when you don't know that road and you don't know that way, you don't, and you've never seen it, you're sort of kind of in the dark. And so I took the leap, I crossed the threshold, I was out of my comfort zone. So that's the first thing that y'all are going to do is if you're learning something, you're in your comfort zone, but then you got to cross the threshold. You got to take the challenge. You got to go across and do something different that you've never done. And look at me now. I'm making AI music from using ChatGPT, and I love it. And to me, being 65 now is the best time of my life because there's more to learn and there's more to give. Because when I left South Texas to go to Houston, I didn't have a thing or I did a skill or whatever. I was just going to go as a body, and I was going to go work on with whatever they told me to work on. And so it was exciting. It was exciting to do that. Thanks everybody for joining. I wish I could say hi to all of you guys. I'm just going to say a blanket hello because I want to get this recording done. I want this 90-minute live to get done. I want to have some content that I will be able to use later. And so, and again, going from South Texas, a 2-year school, that gave me a freedom blueprint all on its own, because just with that 2-year degree, I was able to move from one place to another place. And so, and again, it took more than 90 days because I was trying to figure out. I was going to school. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. My dad was a single dad. My mom had passed away, and so it was hard. At the time, I didn't think it was hard, or I didn't know it was hard, but it must have been hard for my dad to, see that his eldest son was going to be leaving. And so, back then, I didn't think a lot about what I was doing to him, and so. But again, everything worked out for the way it worked out. But as a person, you always should be aware of your surroundings, and because every decision you make affects a lot of people. And even to this day, I was making some decisions recently that were more for me, but at the end of the day, I still have a whole, I'll call them a tribe here locally, plus in Houston, and then my brother, sometimes he needs me. So I have to pull back a little bit because with skills that I've learned over the years, I can work from anywhere. But if life isn't good for my brother or a friend or whatever, and I have to hang out with them for a little bit, I'll use my skills wherever they are, because I can, as long as I have an internet, my laptop, or a desktop, I'm good, and I can work from anywhere. And so those are skills that I learned in IT and information technology back then, and then all of a sudden, then we get phones, so phones became a new thing, or the PC was a new thing, and that happened, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But so crossing the threshold, I took the leap. I left South Texas. Then number 6, you're gonna have tests and allies and enemies, and when you get to a certain place, like in Houston, there's a lot of different people than there was in South Texas. And there's a lot of personalities, there's a lot of things that you've never experienced, so you have to learn a lot about a lot of different people. And that's when I got interested in the people business, because everybody's different. And there's nobody that say, oh, this is the same guy as this one or that one. That's the one thing about us all, is our different beginnings, experiences, and our endings. So just remember, you're different, and your offer to create value for others is different than anybody else. So you have the gift. You just have to figure out how to get that gift out there so that you can help others. So again, one of my gifts is storytelling, because I'm telling a story about when I left South Texas, and I had taken a class in Houston about the hero's journey. And once you learn about the hero's journey, you can see that you're always in this hero's journey, because you're always going to the next level. You're learning, you're starting here, you're making the journey, and then you reach an aha, and 2 years later, you're going to Houston. I was in McAllen, now I'm going to be in Houston. And so tests and allies and enemies. I never really had enemies per se, but I had a lot of allies that we worked together, we communed together, we ate together, we studied together, and that was just part of, I guess, the way I was brought up. And so when you have tests when you're young, even back then, I remember getting offers, because I had a job with Shell Oil Company. I started getting all these credit card offers, and I'm going, wow, look at this stuff. They want me to have their card, and next thing I know, I was in living card to card, paycheck to paycheck, because the American Express wants you to pay that next month, and so it was just, I remember saying, I got to stop this. So I remember it was 1 month I had to go basically eating beans out of a can, because I wanted to pay off this debt. I didn't like it. I didn't like having debt, and so I was eating beans and hot dogs and simple stuff. It was crappy for me, but I had to, be able to take that paycheck and just pay that bill down, cut up that card, and just, survive, make it. And that's a lesson that I learned. I learned that lesson, but I also teach that lesson that you have to make that the first year of whatever you're changing. You have to figure out a way to survive. You have to figure out a way to make it until you break out of whatever you're doing. because I guarantee you, you will break out of whatever issue you have, but it's going to take time, and it's going to take you're going to go through a lot of stuff. And so I want you to know that we all go through the same hero's journey. So we're over here on number 6, tests and allies. So I had allies. And then number 7 is I approached the innermost cave. This is harder than I thought. Is it really worth it? I mean, I could have gone back to the McAllen, back to my dad's house, and just say, you know what? I tried it up in Houston. I didn't like it. I'm going to come back. And so it was during those nights that I was thinking, like, man, what am I doing up here? You know, this is Houston, Texas. It's not McAllen, Texas. It's not a little farming community. It's it's a big city, and it's growing. And so, you doubt yourself. You start thinking in the middle of the night, how am I going to pay that bill? How am I going to do this? And there's just it was hard. I got to Houston on right before my 21st birthday. My birthday's in March, mid-March, and I got to Houston in like the first week of March, second week of March. And I turned 21 in Houston. And so when you start getting those feelings like, oh, I'm going to go back, well, that's going to be your first test, because you have to be able to find it in you to learn how to keep moving, keep going forward. And this is before I did any kind of personal development. It was just something that I think that was somehow, it's built in all of us to either quit or continue. And so that gets me down here to number 8, the ordeal. I almost gave up, but something in me wouldn't let me. It's a major turning point. They fight for their new identity. It's painful, but it's transformational. It is painful. So I talked earlier about my mom passing away when I was 16. And so I was like, okay, so now what? What would she say if I came back? Again, she would take me in with open arms, because of course parents are always like that. But what would that say about me? What would that say about what I learned about being a football player? I love playing sports because of the team concept. I love the challenges. I remember the runs around the school. I remember the weightlifting times. I remember the games. I remember stories that we had great coaches. And I go, what would that say about me? And so I said, no, I'm going to stick it out. And that's when I started eating beans out of a can and just say, this is going to be my life for the next month until I get caught up and pay off those credit card bills. And again, that lesson comes in handy still to this day, because there's always time that an unexpected something happens and you need to step back and say, okay, this month I'm not going to do this. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to work on this. And so, but it created a resilience in me that I can share with others, that you'll get past it, you'll get through it. And when I was in Houston, one of my first supervisors was a lady named Jean Givens, God rest her soul. She would come and tell us, and when she saw us, she was like a mom figure. And when she saw us, she would say, "This too shall pass." Because if we couldn't, we were in accounting, and if something didn't balance or something just didn't go right, she would say, "This too shall pass." And I learned that lesson from her. And so I kept going, and about 9 years into that assignment, or one of the assignments, I kept noticing that other people were doing other things. Not everybody came in the same way that I came in. And I said, how come those guys are getting promoted and they look like they're the ones that are getting everything for them? And then I learned about the 4-year degree versus the 2-year degree. The 4-year degree gets you more opportunity. The 2-year degree gets you a job. And so I went back, I started saying, I'm going to go back to school, because those guys have 4-year degrees and they get treated differently. So I went back to school part-time through, and I want to say I was one of the first ever to go to school on the weekends. It was a weekend college called from Our Lady of the Lake University in El Paso, not El Paso, in San Antonio. And that's actually at the master's program that's on the back wall there. And I went to their weekend course. You would go to school on Saturday and Sunday. And the reason I loved it is because you go to school on Saturday and Sunday, and then you apply what you learned on Monday. And it was great because every Monday I was going in, and I was a little bit different than my fellow employees, the other people that I were working with, because I had learned something new. And that little new thing made me different than the guy beside me. And again, it's a competition, a friendly competition, but I was also learning more. I was figuring out how to solve problems more. I was helping, I was helping the company. I was helping the company save money, make money. I was helping the processes become smoother. I was becoming a what do you want to call it? A spokesperson for the folks in our team, because everybody's working toward getting jobs done better, faster. And if you know anything about accounting, it's every month they have to account for the business. And it can get boring and monotonous, and I hated it. To be honest with you, I hated it. I was okay with it and I was good with it, but I hated it because it wasn't me. I'm more of a creative person, and I'm more of a leader, a teacher, an encourager. But I didn't back down from a challenge. So I kept, they had a course, I signed up for it. If there was a problem, I helped try to be a part of the team that solved that problem. And and I don't know where that came from. It just came. And again, I almost gave up. But then the reward came. I did it. I survived, and I changed. And I wasn't the same guy that left McAllen in 1983, I think it was, or 81. And I made it to Houston, and I survived, and I made it. And I made it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I kept doing different things. And next thing I know, 25 years later, I had gotten married, I had my daughter, had bought a house, had traveled to different parts of the world, had been on vacations, had been to all different places. And I was thinking, like, now see how far I've come from when I was in South Texas, thinking I was just going to be a delivery driver for Sears. And so now the reward is, again, you're going to reach the reward where you did it. And if you look at your life, you all have reached a point where you are rewarded because you have reached whatever you were going for. And so the road back, now I see how far I've come, and then they realize they can never go back to who they were. And this goes back to the Albert Einstein said, once your mind's expanded, it never goes back to its original size. So my mind was so way expanded. I can't do it on the screen, but way expanded. And it was just, it's a message that I think needs to be shared with everybody, because it's who you are. You're on a journey. You're your own hero in your journey. And again, this started from way back when I was just learning and inquisitive, and I see it all the time now, where again I see kids, my grandkids, my daughter, everybody has to go through that same learning mode to move to the next step, the next level, the next thing. And again, everything that's going on in your life is going to pass. You have to be ready for the next thing. You can stay there. That's all right, because some people get more adventurous than others. But you need to know that your next adventure is one step above. Don't get stuck being where you're at. Move above. And so I look at the road back, the resurrection now. I'm not the same person anymore. I become someone new. And that's what they talk about in the Bible, is that, the new, you get new skin. The new, when they talk about the old skin, about the wine, where they keep the wine, you get new skin to hold your new person, and the new you. And I now know what I know about me and my journey, and that's the value that anybody that's behind me or younger than me can benefit from, because they haven't gone through it yet. And the biggest aha that I ever had was, you can't have growth without learning something and then sharing it back. And so one of the things that I thought up myself, that it really wasn't thinking. So there's nothing new under the sun. But if you find something over here and you merge it with something over here, then it becomes something new. And so one of the things that it says in number 11, in resurrection, I'm not the same person anymore that I started out with when I was, that old Rick was gone and the new Rick had resurrected. I became somebody new. I own my own power. That meant I was able to make my own decisions, take care of the results of those decisions. And this is where self-ice is in full bloom. Now I walk with clarity and conviction. Self-ice was a concept that I came up with after reading a book that talked about that the three things that you need to work on every day as you grow older is your self-image. When you think about who you are inside, what you're going to be, how, when you grow up, your self-confidence, feel the fear, do it anyway, you can handle it. And so, and I didn't make that up, that was coming out of a book, but that's where it fits within my little formula. Self-ice, self-image, self-confidence, and then self-esteem. That was a big aha for me. You are worthy. Don't let anybody else tell you you're not worthy. You are worthy. You just have to change your mind and say you're worthy, because you are. And then you start doing your own thing. Forget about everybody that's on the outside. One of the observations I had last night when I was hanging out with Jeff was that he was trying to please everybody. Hey, hi, how you doing? Hey, hi, Joe. Hey. That's too much talk. When he had a chance to make his concept, this guy has a great story. I'll tell it to you in just a minute. But one of the things I was telling him, he's worried about how people saw him. Come on, Rick, let's get this thing together, because all these people are coming in. And I go, dude, we're learning. They'll have to come back tomorrow. If they want to stay, they stay. If they don't want to stay, they don't stay. And so he hadn't got to that point yet that, he needs to learn, and some of the learning is going to come at the expense of losing some people that come in and join us. I've been noticing here that there's, two or three people that have been with us almost the whole time here. And those are the people that you're talking to, because those are the ones that want to learn. Everybody else is stopping by and going. Life is a sorting process, and this tool helps us sort people to who can I help, who wants to get helped, and who doesn't want to get helped. And so, all these little lessons that I'm trying to teach Jeff, he doesn't get it yet, because his mind is just, I got to please everybody. I got to be here for that person and that person and that person. No, you want to work with the people that'll come to you and want to work with you and talk to you and have conversations with you. If you ever looked at a funnel has a big wide open mouth at the top. That's because everybody comes in, but through the whole process, only a few come out. And so the whole point of that concept is that with TikTok, you can share your message with a lot of people, but only a few are going to stay, and only a few are going to, hang out with you. But you got to do that every day. So today yesterday I had a few, the day before that I had a few, today I have a few, and we'll keep growing this business. Again, 90 Day Freedom Blueprint has a lot of the stuff that I wish I would have had when I first started, because it does talk about mindset, it does talk about systems, it does talk about marketing, but I didn't have to create it. Now, this Freedom Blueprint, yeah, we sell it. I sell it, and you'll buy it from me. But along with that Freedom Blueprint comes me, and all my experiences, and all my hero's journeys, and all that goes with it. And so, because I want to be the guide, I want to be your guy. And so, so that was the resurrection. And now, number 12, the biggest thing about the hero's journey is all this is the elixir. This is the formula. This is the secret sauce. This is the what do they call it? The potion. The potion that solves your problems. Now I help others do the same. And so the hero, me, returns to help others, you. This is your story. It's your business and your mission. My mission to guide others across your freedom bridge. So I became free when I didn't have to. I don't care if somebody doesn't hire me. I don't want them to hire me, because I'm free from that mindset of I have to have a job. And so, again, I've been doing online marketing now for, I've been in involved IT since the 90s. I've done a lot of different things, so I have a lot of experiences. But when this blueprint came across my path last year, it came up at a time when I was wondering what I was going to be doing in my senior years. I was helping out with my rent-a-grant kids, and I wanted to be with them at the same time. I was doing my substitute teaching work here in El Paso, and I said, how am I going to make money down where they're at? Because I'd have to be involved with a whole other district, and so it just a lot of things went through my mind. And so check out my 90-day Freedom Blueprint. That's my domain name. Just sign up for it and get the free blueprint, and then from there we'll talk. Or you can, if you like what you see, just go ahead and purchase one of the products that are in there. But then, so all this conversation that we've been talking about for an hour now is about what was I going to be able to add to Jeff's talk. And so again, when he was having his live, we are all on our own hero's journey. The question is, where are you right now? Stuck in fear or rising into purpose? So now going back to ChatGPT, it asked me. ChatGPT is great about asking the follow-up question. Would you like this turned into a scrollable TikTok live script, a carousel, or a printable handout for your lead magnets or course? It knows that I'm always looking for something that I can offer you that will give you a hand up, that will give you a what do you want to call it? It'll give you a flashlight into the future. It'll give you a roadmap. It'll give you it'll tell you what to look out for, what not to look out. It'll tell you where all the roadblocks are. So if you're not on ChatGPT, get the Freedom Blueprint. Let's start a relationship, and let's get you started on this, because I haven't seen anything. I've seen a lot of things that come across my path in the past 30 years, and this is the one that's going to help a lot of people be more productive, effective, add more value. It's just going to make you a different person fast. And I want to say hi to everybody that's joined, everybody that's come by. I appreciate you. And I wanted to just share this hero's journey with you. So now I'm going to go back up to what my original concept or talk that I was going to be on Jeff's live. I said, so I asked ChatGPT last night. My friend Jeff wants to have a live with a multi-guest component to it. You know, what can I contribute? He wants to talk about learning. And so my ChatGPT went back into all our conversations. As you can see on my left-hand side, there's a lot of conversations that we've had. And again, I asked ChatGPT for a lot of different things. You know, PC back panel analysis. I want to know how come my PC's heating up? How can I cool down my CPU? How can, how can I create songs? How can I write songs? I watch a lot of shows about singing and stuff. I go like, man, I wish I had that skill. I wish I had the skill about playing an instrument. And I always tell the story about why I don't play an instrument is because I didn't want to do the work. I wanted to play the instrument. Everybody else wants to make money, but they don't want to do the work. I wanted to play the instrument, but I didn't want to practice. And, you know, now I've become a master at practicing because that's the only place where the magic happens. The magic happens in the practice. And so continue on with what I was going to help Jeff talk about learning yesterday was that I asked ChatGPT, what can I add to Jeff's live about learning? And it says your unique experience, your energy, and your belief in personal growth, self-image, and transformation can add depth, heart, and action steps to the conversation. And so here was ChatGPT's feedback to me on how I can elevate the value of his live. And now it's my live because, you know, we didn't get it done yesterday. So thanks everybody for joining. We're talking about personal development, personal growth. So for me to be on Jeff's live, what I could bring to him was the big picture. Why learning matters now more than ever. And it's so true. Again, I'm 65. I've been 55, 45, 35, 25. And now learning is more important than ever. And so I frame learning as a survival and success skill in today's world. Skill is a magic word. We all have to learn skills to survive in the U.S., in America, in this world. And I'm going to just read what it says here. In a world changing faster than ever, learning isn't optional. It's not an option anymore. It's oxygen. If you're not learning, you're locking yourself into yesterday's paychecks. I always tell my brother, you can't be solving today's problem with yesterday's brain. You always have to have new concepts, new ideas for solutions today. Okay? Number 2, I'm going to add my signature philosophy or self-ice because I believe everything starts from in here and in here before it starts showing up out here. And so, again, weave in my self-ice, my self-image, self-confidence, self-esteem framework. Most people don't struggle because they're not smart. They struggle because they don't see themselves as capable. When you shift your self-ice, learning becomes exciting instead of exhausting. So, again, I go back to the part where you got to see yourself as someone that can learn. You got to see yourself as someone that can contribute and give back to society. You got to see yourself as a helper, as creating loving service to other people. And you got to see yourself as receiving value in return. Because that's the hard part. People just are going to give, but they never expect anything to come back. I expect something to come back. Just so you know, all these gray hairs don't come for free. So take a look at that 90-day freedom blueprint. And it's not because I want the money or I need the money. It's because the value that I'm delivering to you is worth that money. It's going to save you time, effort, skills that you have to learn, and it's all there. And so I didn't have to come up with that blueprint, but everything that I would teach you is in this blueprint. And then the bonus part is that you get my experiences. So, number 2, if Jeff was here, I'd be adding, and he's going to see this morning. I'm going to say, hey, Jeff, we did the live last night or this morning, and you're in it, and you have to go to at the hour mark, and we start talking about what I was going to talk to you about on your live. So that was number 2. Number 3, see, and he always had to be perfect. Oh, Rick, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. I go, nothing's perfect. It's going to be what it is. And so I told him, look, if you can't see that everybody that's joining here, you're real people. I love you. Thanks for stopping by. But we're trying to learn this tool so that we can get to more people tomorrow. And I was telling you, if you're trying to please all these people today and you don't know how you're going to fix the problems that you're having today, tomorrow, then you're not helping anybody. You're just trying to look good. And I said, trust me, you got to get over the looking good. You just got to give value and give value. So number 3 that I was going to add to Jeff's live was drop action nuggets, how to learn better and faster. Bring practical ideas like learn, practice, and teach. I'm a believer and follower of the Jim Rohn style. The thing about Jim Rohn was he helped me get out of my head, because your number one enemy is always inside your head. It ain't out there. It ain't about people that are with you or against you. It's yourself. You got to get out of your own way. And so I learned a tool called ORID from my friend Peter Haskell back in Houston. He was a organizational development coach that helped us when we were going through organizational changes in corporate America. Because again, when just because you go from a small town to the big city to a big company, that doesn't mean that everything's perfect in that big company. And no sooner had I left South Texas and came to Houston, thinking that was going to be the it. Well, then all of a sudden they say they're having layoffs, and here we go. Everybody starts talking about who's going to get laid off, who's going to be the one, and so you're always second guessing yourself, and you're always trying to figure out, is it me? And so you're always just you're always wondering, but you get rid of all those feelings when you have the freedom mindset, because I have enough skills now that tomorrow I can go do something different. I have the degree so that when I have to, if I apply for a job, I can check off that box. I have a degree. I have, again, all kinds of problem solving skills. And right now I'm in the creation mode to give back. And this, again, I would have never thought I'd be on TikTok. I would have never thought that I'd be doing these lives. I would have never thought that I did think, because I thought I was going to be on a stage. But guess what? This is my stage now. And so we got to try to find your stage is one, and get you from being out in the audience and getting on the stage. A lot of my friends say, hey, I don't know how you do that. I couldn't do it. Anybody can do what I do. Because if I can do it, you can do it. And all it took was getting over the fact that you're not everybody's friend. Not everybody's gonna like you. You just have to be you, and you got to do the things that happen, or that make things happen. So number 3, in my talk with Jeff, I was going to help him learn how to use the ORID technique. What did I learn? How do I feel? What does it mean? And what will I do? Because you have to have introspection. What does this mean? You sit back and you think about so last night we had these difficulties, technical difficulties. And it's not that I hate. I like going live in the mornings because there's less people on and I have less technical issues. Whereas in the evening, there's more people, there's more bandwidth, there's more traffic online, and it just seems to slow everything down. So I like the mornings. I get my coffee out of the way, I got this out of the way, and then when I get this recording, I can do everything from my phone. When I'm sitting in class and I'm being a helper, I can just be in the back there putting my live together and submitting it up to YouTube, and then getting it over to my Opus Clips to break it up into smaller pieces. Another thing that I would tell Jeff is, you have to leverage micro learning, learning 15-minute sprints, not 3-hour marathons. Uh, you can learn little things in a short period of time, but every little learning stacks on top of every little learning, and next thing you've gone from today, and at the end of the day, you've learned this much. And so you can do that by doing this micro learning 15-minute segments. Feel the learning is anchor the lesson with emotion so it sticks. What I like about these lives is that, one, I could do these standing up, which is great. But I just woke up. I'm trying to, get the cobwebs out of my head. I'm drinking my coffee, and I combine drinking my coffee, getting my personal development time in, doing my marketing in, doing my teaching, getting that in. It all has to be together. And so, to me, you have to learn how to not do things separately, but learn how to do them together so that you can get 2 or 3 things done at the same time. They call that concurrently in the project management world. So that's number 3 that I would drop some action nuggets on how to learn better and faster. Number 4, story time, how I learned the hard way. And then here's my personal story. Now remember, all this information that ChatGPT is giving me to give you, it's because it and I have already had this conversation about different things, about what value can I bring to people, what can I bring to the market, how can I teach others about what I am, what others are going through. And so how I learned the hard way, if we're on number 4, story time, I used to think reading books was enough until I realized I was learning but not earning. That's when I switched to implementation learning to do, not just know. So that's going to be the next big lesson there is you have to go from knowing to doing. That's the biggest number 1 rule. There's a lot of people out there that know, but they never implement the know. So you want to get your knowledge out there. And like I said, to me, the fastest, easiest way to get your knowing out there is that 90-day freedom blueprint. It has everything that you're going to need to know. The mindset, the marketing, the missions, the technology. It's all in one place. Go there, sign up, let me work with you so that you can get your own skills and you can create your own gold mine. Because like I said, I never feel any more scared about something not happening, because I make things happen now. So I want to get you into that mindset, and that's where your freedom is going to come from, because right now your thinking is keeping you in a weird space. Until you get your new thinking and you can break through and you cross over on that freedom bridge, that's when you're free. And like I said, yesterday in the afternoon, and a lot of times that's why I don't like going live with a lot of people, because I'm on a different level. And I'll help Jeff. Like I said, it's good for me because I know what I want to say, but since we never got it off the ground, we never got to do it together. Now he's going to have to come and listen to this and pick up all these tips. And I'll tell him, hey, look, I had that live without you. And again, I'm glad that we started this process last night. But when you do stuff at the end of the day, you're tired. The day has already come by. He has kids and a family, and so he had a lot of distractions in the background. I said, hey, so TikTok doesn't like when you have kids in the background. They'll have noise. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of distractions. Oh, I don't. I don't care that they don't like that. Well, you may not care, but TikTok cares. And at the end of the day, until it has Jeff's software or Jeff's system on the door, you got to play by the rules. And so everybody play by the rules. Don't put kids in your lives. Then let's see here. Number 5, tie in monetization, learning to earn. This is where your Daily Pay Gold Mine or TikTok Shop content shines. When you learn something that solves a problem and package it, you can earn forever from what you've learned once. That's smart learning. And so that's what I'm saying. This Freedom Blueprint, when I got involved last year, I didn't know what I had my hands on. But since we made it a whole year, I've made money with it. I just hadn't figured out the marketing part for me personally, but I never gave it up. And so the 12 packages that I sold to the 12 customers, my 12 customers, I told them, I go, you can use it today, tomorrow, or never, but you have it. And until you get to the point where you say, you know what, I have this thing in my hand. I have this community that is, 50,000 strong. It's up, I can't do it for you. They can't do it for you. This is truly something that you have to do on your own, but not by yourself, because we're always here. I get messages all the time on the chats and stuff. Again, it's not about us, it's about you. Will you go to that next level in your hero's journey? So that's what the steps are there. Let's see. Number 5 was about time monetization. And so this is going to help you monetize all your learning, everything that you know. There's somebody out there that's like you, that's coming up through the ranks behind you, that you're leading, that you don't know about yet, but you've already done what they want to do. So, get on this Freedom Blueprint, get it, and let's start working towards your freedom. Learning is a freedom skill. And again, learning is how you can reclaim your power. Nobody can take away your skills. And the right learning creates leverage. So you can start trading time for money. I had learned this a long time ago too, that Benjamin Franklin said this. So some smarter guys than me, way back in the day, nobody can ever take away your knowledge. They can take away your house, they can take away your things, but they can never take away your knowledge. And they can never take away your skills, because everything that you've learned to this point is your skills. So if you want to be ultimately free, you got to get free of the thoughts first, and then you got to get free of that, the other person, all that other thing. Do you today? And so anyway, here we go for that dumb. TikTok is dumb. It thinks that it says we have detected inactivity during your current live. Complete the verification to continue. And so it's still recording and I'm still going. So anyway, so let me keep going on this piece over here. And again, sometimes I think this is my internet connection acting up, but as long as I see that timer clicking, then it's still going. So we have at least 22 minutes to go. So frame learning as a freedom skill. Learning is how to reclaim your power. Number 7, call to reflection. Close with a mic drop question. What are you learning today that your future self will thank you for? That's a mic drop question. You have to be able to think about these types of questions so that you can answer them honestly and courageously, because it's going to help you go to the next level. So if Jeff is more tactical, you can be a philosopher and plus practitioner, the guy who reminds everyone that learning is the bridge from stuck to unstoppable. And so my ChatGPT helped me organize all of my content so that you don't have to organize your content as long as you develop a relationship with your ChatGPT, in the sense that you feed it, you put in the inputs to it, right? It processes all that stuff that we put in. This is a typical input, process, output kind of thing for in computers and IT, is that there's always a hold on a second. There's always an input, a process, and an output. So you have to know what your output is. I wanted a 90-minute live here. I wanted to add value to Jeff on his live yesterday. And again, the inputs that I offer to Jeff are things that have already come into my brain and my experiences. And I was going to process that and then have some content for him to give to his audience about learning. Because every time I talk with Jeff, as soon as he says, "Oh, that makes sense," I go, "Dude, everything I say makes sense. Come on, quit wasting time and just take what I got and run with it." And I know it's being a little bit kind of weird, but I have to wake these people up to say that they're just not talking to anybody here. They're talking to me, and that's not being what they used to call that word. Somebody could give me the word. Conceited. I'm not conceited. I already know what I know, and you can't tell me that you know what I know, because you can't. And so you might know some things, but you don't know all the things, because again, we're all different, and our life experiences makes us even more different. So anyway, we're always seeing the perspective of life from two different viewpoints. And so what's going on here now? We have detected anything. No. I already ticked that. So click on that. So anyway, to wrap up this live, let me see what else is in here. Yes, I went over the hero's journey. That's all good. So let me go down here to the end, and then I'm going to put down here the last little 9 minutes. Why should people join me? So you ask the question, it's going to come back and it's going to give us some whys. Why should you join me? When you ask, why should people join me, you're really asking, what do I stand for? How do I help others rise? And here's a compelling answer I can use on my lives, in my content, and in my funnel copy. So, why should people join me? If you want to join me, go down, my website's right down there. It's in blue, to get your 90-day freedom blueprint. All right? People should join me not because I'm not just building a business, I'm building people. People who are ready to stop settling and start rising. All right? So I'm just not building a business. Because I've been where you are. I know what it's like to work hard but feel underpaid and undervalued. Watch others win while feeling stuck. Buy programs that gather dust because no one taught the how. And I believe there's more, but not know how to get there. And you know that there's more, and you don't know how to get there. I offer more than tools. I offer a system. I give you a blueprint to earn online, even if you've never done it before. Support, mentorship to grow in confidence. A daily plan to stay in momentum. Automation so you don't have to hustle 24/7. Because like I said, this 1 hour video or 1 hour live is going to get cut up in a bunch of little videos, and it's going to go out there everywhere. So this 1 hour turns into many. And I'm also going to help you believe that you can, because you can. And then I teach from experience, not theory. At the beginning, we all teach from theory because that's what we're learning, but we haven't had the experience yet. But now I've had so many experiences that I can tell you that, yes, I know what I'm going to be teaching you is going to help you. It's going to help you get there faster. It's going to help you see the world differently, and you'll have a different attitude. Again, I can't guarantee anything, but I know that the thing that I want is I'm trying to go from, so I'm going from my fixed income is $36,000 a year, just to get that out. But I make more on the outside. I want to double my fixed income. I want to double it. So I take that back. My fixed income is $36K a year. I want to make $36K a month. And I want to teach people how to make $36K a month. And you can't do that working for somebody. You have to be out here doing something for a lot of people. And this is the way to do it. I want you to go move from job dependency to digital freedom. Again, your job requires you to be at work, But with this, you're here, and then once we get the material, you know, we put you out to everywhere. We put you on YouTube, we put you on Instagram, we put you on Facebook, we get everywhere. But you have to start with one thing. And again, you can turn personal growth, your development, into passive income systems, because everybody's learning, everybody's looking for their next step. They just don't know what that next step is. They don't know where to get it. They don't know how to get it. And the only time that I'm going to come across somebody's path is when they're thinking and looking for an answer. They have a problem. They're looking for a solution. So I'm looking for the seekers out there. The seekers are the ones that you really want to work with, because they already know that the current situation that they're in, they don't want that. They want to move to something else. And so I'm looking for seekers. Another reason you want to work with me is because I just don't want to win. I want to bring people with me. What I want for me, I want for you. And again, we can't get there unless we're on the same page. And so it all starts with this 90-day freedom blueprint. You can get it at that website. Let's get started with a conversation, a relationship. You know, you don't have to buy anything, but I want you to get started. Because the very first thing you got to do is take that first step. And see how powerful this is? If you can't go from here, from this conversation, to that website, and you can't key in your email address to get the blueprint, what is that saying about the stuff that's in your head that's holding you back? Because that's the same thing that's going to keep you from going live. That's the same thing that's going to keep you from learning ChatGPT. That's the same thing that's going to keep you from getting, you know, all the dreams that you want. So I encourage you that if you're ready, go get the blueprint. The blueprint is the first step. Nothing else matters. Because if you can't overcome those thoughts in your head that stop you from filling out your email in a simple blank to get the freedom blueprint, that's what you got to work on. Everything else doesn't matter. And so, anyway, so the last thing, I'm looking for people. If you're looking for somebody, a mentor who listens, not just talks, because we're going down here to the last 3 minutes, a guide who gets the setbacks, and I get it. You're going to buy something, and you're going to put it in the closet, because you're not going to feel the confidence to put it out there. So I get it. I get the setbacks. There's times, like I said, if we go back over this live today, it's going to have a lot of setbacks that I've shared with you. And but then there's a system now that you can just plug and play. The biggest part is, I got to get you out of you and out here. Because once you take that first step in doing a live and having a tool like ChatGPT be your placeholder, because if you ever look at the news or watch the news, those guys always have teleprompters. They're not saying stuff out of their head. They're saying stuff that was written down and they're just reading it. Well, in this case here, you have 2 monitors. The first thing I'm going to tell everybody is to get, you have 1 computer, 2 monitors. Every computer can connect 2 monitors. And once you get those 2 monitors, you have one over here that is below. You can see where it is right here, because I have 2 screens. First screen is me. Second screen is my ChatGPT. And then this TikTok Live Studio gives me the capabilities to put that blue writing on the bottom of that screen. And so you'll want to come back and look at the video again, because I'm going to cut it off here in about 30 seconds. But this 90-minute live could change your life forever. Back in the day that changed my life, it was a 90-minute infomercial. Tony Robbins. I know a lot of you guys out there probably have been, they're Tony Robbins fans, or just getting to know Tony Robbins. But he was in my, or he was on late night TV. And it took me a long time to get it, right? But I kept going back. I kept going back. I kept going back. You know, I encourage you guys to hit your screen, tap your screen, hit some hearts. One of the things that I did want to celebrate today, before we sign off, I got my first commission notice from TikTok. It was a whole 8 cents. But that's proof. 8 cents was generated by me talking. Now, what happens if we turn it to $80 a day? What happens if we turn it into $800 a day? What happens if we turn it to $8,000 a day? Would it be worth your time to come and sit for an hour and a half and give value to other people? You can start by getting your daily Goldmine blueprint, my Freedom Blueprint, at that site down there. And I look forward to working with you. I am done for today's live. I appreciate everybody that was here this morning. Jeff, you missed it, but I'll get with you this morning so you can I can give you the highlights. All right. Peace, everybody. Have a great day, and hug your kids. Make sure that your kids feel loved. Okay. All right. We'll talk tomorrow morning, 4:30 my time, Mountain Standard Time, 6:30 East Coast, 5:30 Central, 4:30 my time. Okay. All right. Have a great day.